Hey, it's Patricia Murphy. It's Friday, Casual Friday. This is Seattle Now. We've had the green light to reopen a bit for a week now, but so far, Phase 2 really isn't that much different. Kind of like Jeff Bezos' new gig. The Strangers' Chase Burns and the Athletics' Michael-Shawn Dugar are here to sort out the week. But first, let's get you caught up. Seattle Public Schools is backing off its plan to return its youngest students to the classroom starting next month. Special education students are still on track, but the district said last night it's now unlikely that pre-K and first grade students will be back by March 1st. The district is still bargaining with its teachers union, which is concerned about safety. This week, the head of the CDC said evidence supports a safe return to classrooms even before teachers are vaccinated. Mayor Durkin says she's confident the city will win a legal challenge over its new $4 an hour pandemic pay bump for workers at large grocery chains. Two industry groups filed a federal lawsuit Wednesday to block the law, saying it singles them out and violates union agreements. The head of the Northwest Grocery Association also says the stores are linked to just 5% of COVID outbreaks statewide. A measure in Oakland that pays an extra $5 an hour is also being challenged in court. And if you've been having trouble sleeping, you can blame the moon. New research from the University of Washington found people slept less and took longer to fall asleep in the few days right before the full moon. Scientists first found the pattern in a study out of Argentina, then noticed the same thing in a group of UW students. They still don't know why the moon appears to mess with our sleep cycle. This week, Jeff Bezos delivered some personal news, and dust off those bowling shoes if you dare. King County has entered Phase 2. Chase Burns is here. He's an editor at The Stranger. Hey, Chase.
Hey, how are you doing?
All right, you watching the Super Bowl this weekend, the big game?
You know, I am not watching the Super Bowl, but I support sports.
Very well said. Well played. And Michael-Shawn Dugar is here, too. He writes about the Seahawks for The Athletic. Hey, Michael-Shawn.
What up? Thanks for having me.
Michael-Shawn, the Hawks aren't going to be in the Super Bowl this weekend, but I'm guessing you're still going to watch.
Yeah. I always tell people not to gamble, but some of my homies are in Vegas for the weekend. So, I might have a lot riding on every play of this game.
Are you going to do snacks? Because snacks is the only thing I show up for.
Well, right now, I'm on a juice cleanse.
Oh my gosh. I just bought an air fryer. I am actually afraid of what it's going to do to me.
Yeah, that's how I ended up on a juice cleanse.
Good thing we'll be able to get out more if you dare. King County entered Phase 2 of Jay Inslee's latest reopening plan. And I feel like I have said this 15 different ways for nearly the past year. We have a new reopening plan. Under Phase 2, you can have a little bit of indoor dining, some gyms and bowling alleys and museums can all open up at 25% capacity. Chase, have you done anything differently since we went into Phase 2?
I have not done anything differently. I am not really changing anything I'm doing on my end, I think, until community spread starts to diminish. Still doing takeout. I may go to a museum, I will say, not to shame museums, but there's not a lot of people that are always in museums, so I think I could keep my distance, but that's about it.
Yeah, positive cases are going down in King County, but honestly, Michael-Shawn, the new variants have me just kind of staying put a little bit.
Yeah, it's like 2021 just brought us the COVID sequel. We weren't even really done. Yeah. With the original, it's kind of scary. That's when I saw the Phase 2 stuff. I was like, oh man, I'm still staying, in the house. I'm recording right now from my girlfriend's room. She's at the gym. So she's taking advantage of some of the openings and stuff like that, which is fine. I trust her. But I don't trust everybody else. So that's why I haven't really been going anywhere. Like I said, some of my homies are in Vegas for one of my friend's birthdays. I was like, I'll catch you guys later.
Yeah. I mean, it's even weird to me that we consider 4.7% positivity rate that's a lot of cases still in my mind. It's weird that our perspective is that the bar is really there because, of course, the vaccine rollout is still slow. we're not putting enough vaccines in people's arms.
Didn't they have to like randomly like tweet out or send like an email or something for hundreds of people to get the vaccine like last week or something like that? Because like, oh damn, this is about to go bad. We're at that point already, and we've only had the vaccine for a little bit. Yeah, this is going to be rough.
I just think about the thing that worries me is just the reopening of indoor dining. I understand why a lot of restaurant owners want to open up indoor dining, but I think about the service industry and people who are kind of being forced to go back to work because they have to accept the job. There's not a lot of other jobs out there. And if they feel like they're in an unsafe environment being around people who are maskless and eating, it's not like they can really quit either because they potentially won't get unemployment. So I worry about this dance that we're doing of sort of opening and closing, but we will see where we're at in about a month.
Yeah, and you wonder what the whiplash does for business owners too, right? I mean, it's not like you can just throw the doors open again. I understand that there's no, foolproof way to do any of this, but it is. It's tricky, very tricky. Big news for local billionaire Jeff Bezos this week. He's stepping down as CEO after 27 years. He started as a nerd with some books at a time when everyone was still wondering if it was safe to shop on the internet. And now, well, he's a consumer overlord who's taking some time off to be with his rocket program. Chase, will the F. Bezos graffiti still have the same charm now that he's being replaced with Andy Jassy?
I think it will. I think people are still going to have Jeff Bezos as sort of their graffiti target around Seattle. And, Jeff, he's a smart guy. He built a pretty big business. And I think it's clear to him that the federal government is looking into antitrust measures against Amazon. And so I imagine that this maneuvering where he's moving to the role of executive chair allows some of the heat to stay off of him in the case of antitrust investigations. And it also, in the case of the business being broken up in the next couple of years, I would imagine it allows him to have a little bit more say in where things go. So it's a clever move on his part, and it'll be interesting to see what happens to Amazon in the next few years.
Yeah, and of course, Andy Jassy, I heard he lives on Capitol Hill, which is funny because, of course, he's been walking past that graffiti for years, probably like, someday.
Well, if AWS spins out to become its own company, then he can get its own targeted graffiti just for AWS if he goes in that direction.
Funny you mentioned my man lives in Cap Hill. It's like most of us can't even, because of Amazon, we can't even afford to walk by that type of graffiti over there. I lived in Seattle all my life until I had to start, earning money for myself, and I've been moving further and further south, ever since high school, and that's not no accident. What they do it over there is South Lake Union. Of
course, social media had a field day with this. Jeff Bezos becomes the first Amazon worker to get a break. That was a good one.
Oh man, they're not wrong. The levels of people that I know who work at Amazon and like the backgrounds of them, it's like all my homies who I went to high school with are all like in the stock rooms and stuff and packing stuff up, or the security, and then all the guys I went to college with are like, I think they're leveled employees there. They're like all the higher levels. Like one of my friends goes to Costa Rica all the time for work. It kind of reflects Seattle too. Like all my homies I went to high school with are black people. And then a lot of homies I went to Wazoo with are white people who are working all up higher in the levels too. So like, yeah, the F Bezos stuff, I might get a spray can and just spread it around because the message doesn't change just because the head of the company changes.
This week, a groundhog in Pennsylvania predicted there will be 6 more weeks of winter, and we all picked our head up and sighed, okay then. Because, of course, the movie Groundhog Day feels a lot closer to our reality right now. Am I right, Michael-Shawn?
That's the one where the dude, he dies every day, right?
Michael-Shawn, that's the one where he wakes up every day.
Yeah, that's a trippy one. I remember watching that as like a kid and not understanding. That might be one I rewatch as an adult to be like, wow, there's a metaphor there. But yeah, it could be snowing every day. It could be sunny as hell every day. I'm gonna be right here, not wearing socks, in my apartment, reading, writing, and binge watching stuff on Amazon Prime.
Chase, have you ever seen Groundhog Day?
I have. I haven't seen it in a while, but I do think, for those of us who are fortunate enough to work from home, it does really feel like Groundhog Day. I have had a problem lately with like birthdays and holidays of doing anything special. It's actually my boyfriend's birthday today, and I won't say what I'm doing because he does listen to this show, but it's difficult because how do you make anything special when you just sit at home?
I know. I have a hard time even feeling bummed about Sunday nights. Like, you know, when you feel like, oh, the weekend's over. It's the same damn thing every day. Like, nothing changes. Nothing changes. One more thing before we go. We are actually moving towards more daylight. Did someone say sunbreak? It's been over a month since the winter solstice, and the sunsets are now at like right around 5:15, which is really nice. I am actually loving it. You two, what are you doing with your extra daylight?
Looking out the window a little bit more. I think my fear is I just told my girlfriend the other day, I think we're going to be in this state for a very long time. Because my faith in people has just, I didn't have a ton before, but like it's really gone down now. Like my Instagram feeds were people who were like stuck in the house, working out, trying to find ways to entertain themselves up until about Memorial Day. And then just like pandemic fatigue set in, and it was vacations, it was Cabo, and it just stayed that way, even as the cases rose. But because I saw all that and I can just see it on my phone, on my IG stories and my timeline, I'm like, oh, boy. My faith in even just being back I don't even know what normal is going to look like again. Like there's going to be like pre-COVID and post-COVID worlds. And I'm not even sure what that post-COVID world even looks like.
Totally. Chase, what are you doing with your extra daylight right now?
Yeah, similarly, I've just been enjoying the golden hour at home, looking out my window. I am waiting for the day that it gets dark around when work ends, because I do have to say that when it gets dark before work ends and you have no commute if you work from home, it's kind of screws with your mind a little bit. So I'm looking forward to spring and more color.
Yeah, me too, man. Me too. I can see the little daffodils are just poking up through the ground. So we're heading the right direction, at least. That's our show. Thanks again to my guest, Chase Burns. He's an editor at The Stranger, and Michael-Shawn Dugar. He writes about the Seahawks for The Athletic. Thanks, you two.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
Have a great weekend. Seattle Now is produced by Caroline Chamberlain Gomez, Clare McGrane, and Jason Pagano. Matt Jorgensen does our music. I'm Patricia Murphy. See you Monday.